At the end of this video, I will show you how much voltage I used for my lithium battery with a meter on a 7-hour trip. Welcome back to another episode of Smashing That Bass. I went out today, took the new Uncanoe Unlimited out. Oh, let me tell you, I fell in love. Unfortunately, the fish I caught, they were all dinks for some reason today. It's just the way it went. It's cool. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys my setup. I'm a very minimal person. I don't put a bunch of bells and whistles on stuff. I put pretty much exactly what I need, and that's it. Let's go ahead and take a look. So we'll start out in the front here. I got the Motorguide with pinpoint GPS. Locks you right on your spot. Oh man, I can't tell you how much I love that. So I just went ahead and got one of their plug kits. Probably kind of hard to see, but we got a plug down in there where your trolling motor just goes down in and plugs in. We'll talk about these here in a second, these pieces of paracord. But I'm telling you, I'm loving this freaking spot lock trolling motor, or pinpoint GPS, whatever you want to call it. So exactly how you see it, exactly how I ran it today. I had 2 rods here on the side. I had 2 rods there on the side. And then I had one that was always in my hands. There was always 2 rods ran along here. I thought that worked pretty well for me. If you had a big bass or something, you know, and you brought it on over the side, it flopped on here, it could break your rod. It is possible. But I really liked the way that worked out. I didn't feel like they were ever going to fall in the water or anything. They felt real secure, and they got these little tip protectors again. I don't know if you can really see that, but there's one here and there's one on the other side. So I also got their gear pod, which is really nice. I put my drone in there, some bait and tackle. That works out pretty well. I'm glad I got that. As all y'all probably know, or a bunch of you anyways, it's got a piece of track here. You can mount whatever you want, fish finder, rod holders, drink holder, whatever. It's a track. So I really do like this gear pod, and I like how it's got these knobs here, and it's modular. You know, you can remove it. You don't have to have this on board. All right, so the strings here that I got, this paracord, so one is tied to the head of the trolling motor. Okay, these are to launch and deploy it, and then the second one here is tied to the foot release. You know, this is the bracket that releases the motor. So all I do is you got to have both of them in your hand at the same time, because when you pull this, that trolling motor is going to want to go forward. So I pull this with my right hand, and my left hand I have this to guide the trolling motor down in, and then it's pretty much the same thing when you bring it back up. You pull this to unlock it with my right hand. With my left hand I pull this to bring it back up on board. That worked real well today. I do think this kayak is stable enough that you could, even with or without this, you could come up, hit this with your hand, and probably pull it up on. You probably could do that. I wouldn't see a problem with it. This thing is extremely stable. So I got their standard seat. So what I did is I put a quick release on to be able to take the seat off fast, and the locking swivel seat. See how it swivels and it locks whenever you let go of it in so many positions. What I've come to find out though is I'm not sure that both of these are going to work together, and I'll show you here in just a second what I'm talking about. So you have this bar here, and it's got kind of like this lip, okay? So you really want this bar on the side so it's easier to grab and turn your seat. The problem with that is this quick release has these grooves. So if you turn this and stick this on the side, it will not go in those grooves because of this piece of metal here that sticks out. So I had to turn it to the back. And now what I'm noticing, now that I went out on it, is that you push this down to push that in, this comes back up and locks it in place. Well, even with this bar being in the rear, this is still catching on this and not allowing it to lock all the way in. So I think I'm going to have to take this off and just leave the swivel seat, I guess, on there. So if you're looking at doing both, unless you know something I don't see how it's going to work and be secure. I actually kind of fell back because the seat wound up coming off the one time I sat down there, and I guess my weight from sitting back pushed it all the way out, and the seat fell, and I kind of fell backwards. Didn't go in, but you know, I just don't see how it's going to work. So next, what we have is a battery back here. I got a Amped Outdoors 100 amp hour battery, and I know some people are going to say, my gosh, that's too much. I don't disagree. I plan on putting some USB ports in this at some point. I'm going to do a fish finder, so I'm just going to hook everything to one battery. Even then, I'm sure I got way more than enough, but I'd rather have way more than enough than not enough. I may wind up doing some float trips where I camp. Then I can go a couple days without a battery. We will actually get into that a little later. I'll show you my voltage readings before I went out in the morning, and then my voltage reading once I got back and pulled into the driveway. So we got that lithium 100 amp hour battery, which is awesome. Again, it just plugs into here, and then that sends your power. That sends your power up to your front for your trolling motor. That's all I really have. I do want to speak about my experience with this, though. So let's go ahead and turn the camera around and do that. Like I said, a very minimal person. I don't need a ton of stuff. I just need whatever works. All right, all I can say is, oh man, am I glad I bought this kayak. This thing is so freaking stable. I felt like I was on my bass boat, which I don't have anymore sold, but I felt like I was on one of my bass boats I've had in the past. I cannot believe how stable this thing is. I'm so glad I bought this. Do not work for Uncanoe. This thing just blew me away today. It's very stable. I was walking around on it like I was on my bass boat. I never felt uncomfortable or felt like I was going to fall. I do got to say one thing about the spot lock trolling motor. If you get this kayak, or if you have it, or if you're looking at getting a spot lock trolling motor for this kayak, at least with the Motorguide, when you first hit that spot lock, you better be sitting down, because sometimes, you know, you're hauling along, whatever, you slow down, you kind of get to your spot, you hit your spot lock where you want to be, and sometimes that thing just kind of jerks a little bit to the left or to the right, and then once it does that, I guess kind of finds its spot as to where you hit the spot lock, you're good to go. But I never felt like I was going to fall out of it while I was on a spot lock. I was standing up the whole time. The spot lock's not real crazy. It's not like real jolty or anything like that. So I do want to say about the spot lock, I did notice that when it got really windy, it seemed like the spot lock would be a little more off than when the wind was a lot calmer or there was no wind. I would say when there's no wind, you're pretty much dead on. When you do get some wind, I would say you're probably within, it'll drift probably about 3 to 4 feet and then come back. It's just kind of my experience. That's the way it seemed. What I try to do is pick something out on the shore to kind of try to eyeball, and then just kind of see where I was at. Now, with spot lock, your back will still spin. You will still spin around, but what happens is that trolling motor will pretty much keep you right there on that point, unless you have that hard wind. Like I was saying, you might drift about 3 foot or so, but that kayak will still spin. But the spot lock will keep you pretty much right there. I mean, for the money I paid, I can tell you now, I spent all last year on a kayak with no trolling motor. I'll take it. I think it works pretty good. And this thing flies. This thing freaking flies, man. If you pump that thing all the way up, it just gets it. That trolling motor just makes this thing roll. I was really impressed with that. We started off this morning with, as you can tell, I have not taken the kayak off the truck. So this morning we started out with 13.7 volts. As you guys just saw in the picture, that is right after I took it off the charge. It's about a 30-minute ride home. Probably really didn't lose any juice on that ride. I've been out for 6 hours, and let's go ahead and see what we got after. Or I'm sorry, I was out for 7 hours. We were out from 6 to 1. So we're gonna put this here. Let's see what we got. Wow, 13.2. That's insane. And I use spot lock like 95% of the time. Wow. You know, I can't say enough about it. I really can't. I'm just super amazed, very impressed. I know there's some people when they first got it, soft spots, this and that. I get it. I guess mine kind of has one as well. I just, man, I'm amazed. I love the open deck. If you're looking at buying one and you got the money and you truly want to do it, I recommend it. I really do. Appreciate you all watching, and have a good one.